Greetings traders and welcome back to our Forex mentorship program for beginners. Today we are going to be looking at a very important term that is used in the foreign exchange market. There's absolutely no way you are going to trade the foreign exchange market successfully without talking about a PIP. What is a PIP? You are going to hear a lot of traders say the market moved 10 pips today. I made 20 pips in the market today. The average daily range of GBP USD is 100 pips. You are going to hear traders say I made 100 pips today. Okay. Now, what is a PIP? A PIP is simply the short form for percentage in point or price interest point. But if you want to define a PIP, we are going to refer to it as the unit of measurement to express the change in value between two currencies. Remember, we said that pips move very small, and we equally said that for the major currency pairs, a PIP is always quoted in 4 decimal places. Major currency pairs that exclude the Japanese yen pairs. For example, Euro USD and other pairs that do not include the Japanese yen pairs will be quoted as 1 PIP, being equivalent to 4 decimal places, where the 4th digit represents the PIP, meaning this one here represents the PIP. And we also say that for the Japanese yen pairs, for example USD JPY, all the Japanese yen pairs will be quoted in 3 decimal places, where the second value represents the PIP. This value here represents the PIP. Okay, now I am going to show you how all of these values are gotten and how you can work with these values. And in this episode also, we are going to be looking at the value of a PIP. What is a PIP worth? Remember that in our previous mentorship program where we talked about the lot, we said there are 4 major categories of lot sizes, which are the standard lot, the mini lot, the micro lot, and the nano lot. And we equally say that the nano lot is actually the smallest. Okay, and remember we also say that a standard lot is always equivalent to 100,000 units of base currency. And when you are trading a standard lot, you are controlling a volume of 1.0, and the value per PIP for a standard account is always equivalent to 10 United States dollars if you are trading the United States dollars. In this episode, I am going to show you how this $10 comes about. Okay, stay tuned please. And we equally say that for a mini lot or a mini account, it is always equivalent to 10,000 units of base currency, and the trading volume is always 0.10, and the value per PIP is always equivalent to a single dollar. We also say that for a micro account, you are controlling a position of 1,000 units of base currency, and the trading volume is always equivalent to 0.01, and the value per PIP is always equivalent to 1 United States cent or 1 cent. We said for a nano account is always equivalent to 100 units of base currency, and the trading volume is always 0.001, and the value per PIP is always 0.01. Okay, now we are going to pay attention to how all of these values are gotten in this episode. Now, what is the value per PIP? You are going to hear a lot of questions. What is a PIP worth? Okay, there are so many ways on the internet to determine the worth of a PIP or the value of a PIP. I am going to show you a few ways you can calculate all of this. Okay, now let us assume that for a standard account, you have already said that for a standard account, the trading volume is 1.0 and the value per PIP is $10. Let us look at how this value is gotten. Let us assume that, for example, you are trading Euro USD. And let us assume that initially when you step in the market, the value of Euro USD is equivalent to 1.1234. This is the initial quote of Euro USD, which means Euro is equal to 1.1234. But we do not know the value of the dollar. If you are buying Euro USD at this stage, it means you are using the dollar to buy Euro, okay? And the value of Euro is 1.1234. Do not get confused. I am going to show you all of this. Now, let us assume that after some time, Euro USD increases by 1 pip, okay? Which means we are going to have a value of 1.1235. So Euro USD increased from 4 to 5, 1 pip. So there is an increase in pip by 1. Now, what is this 1 pip worth? This is what we are going to look at. If you are trading a standard account, for example, we said a standard account is equivalent to 100,000 units of currency. So what you are going to do is you are going to multiply the initial price of Euro USD by the value of a standard account, which is equivalent to 112,340 if you do the maths, okay? Now, the second thing you are going to do is you are going to multiply that increment by the same account size, okay, which is 100,000 units of currency, and it is going to give you 112,350. If you do the math, if you pay attention, this is the increase in PPA, this 5, okay? Now, look at something. If you do the math correctly, and you try to subtract, look at something. 1 is going to cancel 1, 2 will cancel 2, 3 will cancel 3, and then you are going to be left with 50 here. Look at something. So what is 50 minus 40? It is 10. Okay, and this takes us back here to the value of a pip for a standard account. This is how it is gotten. I hope you understand this. So this is $10, which means Euro USD increased by 1 pip. And this single pip movement is equivalent to $10, which is exactly what we said here. Every time the market moves by 1 pip for a standard account, the value of a pip is equivalent to 10 United States dollars. I hope it is clear. Now, what if you are trading a mini account? Remember we said a mini account is equivalent to 10,000 units of currency, and the value per pip is $1, okay? Now let us assume that in this case you are trading GBP USD. You are going to use the same values. Initially the price of GBP USD was 1.1234. This is the quote. But then when you stepped in the market, GBP USD increased by 1 pip. So it moved from 1.1234 to 1.1235, where this 5 here is an increase in pip by 1. Now, if you are trading a mini account, which is equivalent to 10,000 units of currency, what you are going to do is you are going to multiply it by the value of that account, which is 10,000. Okay, the initial price, and it is going to give you 11234. Okay, if you do the math correctly, and if you multiply the increments by the value or the account position or the account size, which is 10,000 units of currency, you are going to have 1, 1, 2, 3, and 5, where this 5 here is that increase in pip, that 1 pip increase. Now, if you do your maths again correctly and you subtract, you see that this is going to cancel itself. Okay, look at something. Now, what are you going to be left with? 5 minus 4. What is 5 minus 4? 1, which is $1. So the value of a pip for a mini account is equivalent to $1. So if you check over here, you are going to have it here. I hope you understand. Now, let us take the third category. If you are trading a micro account, remember we said a micro account is equivalent to 1,000 units of currency, and the value per pip is 1 cent. Now, how is this value gotten? In this case, let us say you are trading USD CAD. And initially USD CAD is 1.1234. Then after some time USD CAD increases by 1 pip, so it goes from 1.1234 to 1.1235, which means it has increased by 1 pip. Now what is the worth of this pip, or what is the value of this 1 pip increment if you are trading a micro account? We are going to do the same thing. We are going to multiply the initial price by your account size, which is 1000. And if you do this correctly, you are going to have 1123.4. Do it, okay? If you multiply the second value by 1000, you are going to have 1123.5. I hope this is clear. Now, if you do your math correctly, you notice that this is going to cancel itself and you are going to be left with 0 here. 0.5 minus 4, what is it? 1. So the value per pip for a micro account is 1 cent. This is a cent, and if you look at it, this is what we said here. It's equivalent to 1 cent. I hope it is clear. If you want to be curious, let's do it for a nano account, okay, which is equivalent to 0.01 cents. Nano accounts are not really traded. Now, in this case, let us say you are trading USD Swiss franc, and initially the value for USD Swiss is 1.1234. Don't worry, it's not going to be like this, okay? You are going to have different values. I just want to use this so that it's easy for us to do the math. And then when USD Swiss increases to 1.1235, where this 5 here is the increase, okay? If you are trading a nano account, which is equivalent to 100 units of currency, what you will do is you are going to multiply your initial value by 100, and if you do this, you are going to have 112.34. okay, and if you multiply this second value by 100, you are going to have 112.35. I hope it is clear. If you do your math correctly, this is going to cancel each other and you are going to have 0 here. Now 0 point, you bring down the point, okay? Now 3 minus 3, what is it? 0. 5 minus 4, what is it? 1. So you see that the value of a pip for a nano account is equivalent to 0.01 cents, which is what we had over here. I hope it is clear, okay? You can go ahead and you practice with it. I am going to teach you how to add and subtract pips in the market so that you'll be able to know if this market increased by 10 pips, what am I going to have? If it increased by 20 pips, by 100 pips, what am I going to have? Okay, so that with this you are able to clarify yourself. I am going to show you a second method. That one was the first method. For a second method, let us assume that for a standard account again, which is equivalent to 100,000 units of currency, and the trading volume is 1.0, and the value per pip is always 10 United States dollars. For the second one, which is the mini account, it is always equivalent to 10,000 units of base currency, and the trading volume is always 0.1, okay, and the value per pip, which you have already calculated over there, is always $1. For the micro account, it is always equivalent to 1,000 units of base currency, and you are controlling a volume of 0.01, and the value per pip is always 1 cent. You have calculated all of this over here. This is a short way. If you do not want to go through all the calculations, what you simply do is multiply these values by 10. If you multiply this by 10, it's going to give you $10. If you multiply this by 10, it's going to give you $1. If you multiply this by 10, it's going to give you this value, which is 0.1 cent. I hope this is clear. Another short format, okay, look at something. Move this decimal place to the right. What are you going to have? 10. I hope this is clear. Move this other decimal place to the right, 1.0. What are you going to have? 1.0 or $1, which is equivalent to this. Move this other decimal place to the right. What are you going to have? 0.1 cents, which is equivalent to what we have here. So that is the third method. If you don't want to go through all of these calculations over here, you can simply just do what I have shown you down here, okay? I hope it is clear. Now let us look at the third method, which is actually a universal method for all the major currencies, okay, that do not include the Japanese yen. The value per pip is always calculated as the number of decimal places times your account size divided by your current market price or exchange rate. Okay, this is how the value of a pip is calculated universally. Okay, if we take, for example, a standard account, we always start with a standard, which is equivalent to 100,000 units of currency. Okay, now for Euro USD is always denoted in 4 decimal places, like we have said already. JPY pairs are denoted in 3 decimal places. So for a standard account, what we are going to do is, for the value of a pip, we are going to take the number of decimal places for a standard account, which is 0.0001. And we are going to multiply by our account size, which is a standard account, 100,000 units of currency. And we are going to divide by the current market price, which is 1.1234. Okay, the price that we have been using above here. If you do this correctly, this is going to give you 10. Okay, 0.0001 times 100,000 is 10. If you divide it by 1.1234, it's going to give you around $8.90. If you try to round it up, it can give you about $9. Okay, 9 United States dollars. Now this is the price for euro. Okay, in case you were trying to know the value of Euro USD, this is the price of euro. The price of euro is equivalent to $8.90. Now let me show you. Let's do it quickly on a calculator. If you multiply 100,000 times 0.0001, it's going to give you 10. This is how we got the value. Okay, and if you divide it by the current market price, which was 1.1234, it's going to give you $8.90. Okay, and this is the value of euro against the dollar. Now you are going to ask yourself, then what is the value of the dollar? What you are going to do is, you are going to take the value of the euro and you are going to multiply by your initial market price, which means you are going to multiply your initial market price 1.1234 times the value of the euro. And if you do this, you are going to have 10 United States dollars. Let us do it. If you multiply this value by your initial market price 1.1234, it's going to give you 10 United States dollars, and this is the value of the dollar. Okay, I know it's going to be a bit confusing, but please do not worry, you are going to understand this. So you can go ahead and you do it for the micro account and for the mini account. We just did this for the standard account. Okay, now I am going to show you the last method, how you can determine the value of a pip. If you are trading a standard account, again, you always start with a standard. If you want to know the value of a pip, a standard account again is equivalent to 100,000 units of currency. If you want to know the value of a pip for a standard account, simply what you do is you are going to multiply it by the number of decimal places for the major currency pairs. Remember, we say the number of decimal places is always equivalent to 0.001, where this one is the pip. If you multiply this, you are going to have 10. Okay, so the value per pip for a standard account is equivalent to 10 United States dollars. I hope it is clear. This is another short format. Now, we are going to look at the second category, which is the mini account. A mini account is equivalent to 10,000 units of currency. Now, if you multiply 10,000 by 0.001, you are going to have $1, which is the value per pip for a mini account. Okay, the third category, which is a micro account, and it's always equivalent to 1,000 units of currency. If you multiply this by 0.0001, which is the number of decimal places for major currency pairs excluding the JPY pairs, you are going to have 0.1 cents. Okay, now if you want to do this, let's go and see. Okay, let's see, multiply 100,000 by 0.0001, excuse me, you are going to have 10. Okay, if you multiply 10,000 by 0.0001, you are going to have $1. I hope it is clear. If you multiply 1,000 times 0.0001, you are going to have 1 cent. This is how these values are gotten. Okay, so you can go ahead and you practice this. Okay, now what about the JPY pairs? If you want to know the value per PIP for the JPY pairs, they are calculated differently. Okay, let us look at the fifth category, the JPY pairs. Let us look at, for example, USD JPY. Remember, we say the value per PIP is always calculated as universally the number of decimal places times your account size divided by the current market price or the current exchange rate. Okay, if you are trading a standard account for the JPY pairs, what we are going to do is, remember the JPY pairs are calculated in 3 decimal places, 0.01, where this one here is the PIP. We are going to multiply it by a standard account, which is 100,000 units of currency. Just assume that the current market price is 101.10. The Japanese yen pairs, this is how they are written. Okay, this is how you are going to see their quotes when we start trading. So if you multiply this correctly, let's do it and see something. 0.01 times 100,000 is going to give us 1,000. Okay, it's going to give us 1,000. Now if you divide this by the current market price, 101.10, it's going to give us this value, $9.8 about. This is very, very accurate, $9.89 about. Okay, it's not always going to give you $10, to be honest, but the truth is that if you try to round this up, you can have, because if you have 9.89, it's almost equivalent to 9.9, which is almost equivalent to $10, right? If you look at it very well. So we have seen the various ways how we can calculate the value of a PIP. Which one was okay for you? You can choose it. Okay, you don't need to know how to do all. You can just choose one that fits you very well and you practice it. But the good news is that there are calculator tools on the internet. We have websites where you can just go there and you calculate your PIP. You don't need to do this manually. But I advise that as a developing student, it is always very good that you should know how to do these things before you can go to any tool that will help you do all of these things. In future, I am going to do videos and show you tools on the internet that can help you calculate the value of a PIP. But this one is good. Okay, I hope that you have been able to learn something. If you did that, please make sure you like the video, make sure you comment, make sure you share also, so that someone out there who is struggling on how to calculate the value of a PIP can learn one thing here. Okay, in our next video, where I will teach on how to add and subtract PIPs in the foreign exchange market. Thank you so very much and stay safe. Goodbye.